Hello and welcome to the garden. Today is our week 5 full garden tour. Now, for those of you that are new here, my name is Lindsay. I am in zone 6A in South Central Indiana. I have about 300 square feet of mostly in-ground garden space. I do have a few grow bags, which I will show you, but most of my stuff is in-ground. I grow pretty much organically. I use things like dish soap to deter pests, but otherwise all the fertilizers and pest control options that I use are organic. So let's get started. I'm so excited to show you what's been going on out here. So right here next to our gate, we have our ghost cherry that it's in a grow bag. And it is just like, it's huge. I mean, it's literally just massive. I did add a bottle to it, and it seems to be helping with water. I've had a little bit of leaf curling, but I think this may just be a little bit of overwatering. I didn't put water in the bottle today because I knew I was going to fertilize tonight. So that should be fine in the morning. Now behind that is a new addition. This down here is a sweet scarlet dwarf tomato plant. I actually have 2 of these. There's one on the other side of the garden. And this is a dwarf plant that actually produces tomatoes that are 10 to 16 ounces large, which is pretty big for a dwarf plant. My lavender, look at this. This is beautiful. I actually harvested some of this morning for a bouquet to put in my house, and it just is the most gorgeous thing. Then I have my dill. One of my patches of dill down here. It has grown so much in the last week that it's almost uncanny. It's about 2 feet tall now, and last week I think it was just like down here. So that's awesome. I'm actually gonna plant some more of that next to it in the next couple days. And then here is another tomato. This is called the Black Seaman. This is a determinate tomato. So it will only get so tall. I think it's only gonna get about as tall as it is now. And look at that little baby tomato. And this is supposed to be a black tomato. So, I mean, we'll see how it ripens because it should turn black or dark purple as it ripens. So next to those, we have our variety of beans. So these are the jade bush beans, and everything else in here that's a little bit lighter green are the dragon tongue bush beans. And then over here we have the top crop bush beans. And then down here we have the royal burgundy bush beans, and these are the biggest of the bush beans. They're starting to set their little like, I think these are like the flower pods, which is super exciting. The strawberries, as usual, have grown more, even though I don't necessarily need them to get any bigger. And then if I spin around, look, my zinnias. So this one was almost bloomed last week, I'm pretty sure. And it bloomed. It's a dark pink, and these are called candy stripe zinnias, but they're definitely not striped. I don't know if maybe the later blooms will be striped and the first ones just aren't, but this one I love, and this one actually just bloomed today, and it's like a lighter pink, but still absolutely beautiful. Now, okay, this is the purple potted pole beans. I just would like you to see how tall they are, because they go up to here. So that's probably about 5 feet tall. And this one is up here as well. Super duper tall. They're growing really well. I'm really happy with the way they're doing. They haven't necessarily put off any flowers yet, but they will sooner than I realize. I mean, there's little leaf clusters will send out flowers, and that's where the beans will come out, but they're just not to that point yet, but they will be soon. And next to those on this trellis, this is the rattlesnake pole beans, and these are also getting super tall. There's actually more than one on this right here, so they are just Growing and growing. All right, focus. Okay, the lettuce tower. I need to find a new name for this because there's no lettuce in it anymore. I mean, there is still up here, but I need to pull it out. So I'm thinking about calling it like the herb tower because it's mostly herbs. It's actually doing pretty well. I do have a problem with it like drying out really fast because the pots are so small, but I'm not really sure there's much I can do about that. So, sitting next to the lettuce tower, oh, and we do have one dragon tongue bush bean in the tower. The herb tower, excuse me, let me get the name right. And there's more dill in here too that's doing pretty well. So this is the delicata squash. And if you recall, I said I didn't know if it was a bush or a vine. It's for sure a vine. Here's the top of it. I'm trying to get it to grow up this tomato cage. Now, I don't know if it's going to go well or not, but that's what we're doing. There is one on it. It's down here. I don't know if this has been pollinated. So, it may grow, it may not. I don't know. There's another female blossom right here. So, we'll see what happens. There's some male blossoms on here as well. So, hopefully soon I'll have some delicata squash. This one may grow, but I don't know. It might not. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. So, down here next to these beans. So, here's the other side of the beans. And they just look so good. I do have some yellowing down here, but I'm hoping I can remedy that with the fertilizer I just gave everybody. So next we have our Minnesota midget cantaloupes. This is actually 2 plants. I need to pick one and trim the other one back. There's another one right here. It's smaller, but it is growing. And then next to that we have our crimson sweet watermelons. This one is doing so well. I mean, this plant is doing amazingly. And then these over here, again, I need to pick one. There's 2 right there. So super excited for these. Hopefully I can get some more watermelons than I did last year. I just got like 1 last year, so hopefully I can get more than 1. Now we're just gonna like ignore all of this that's still here. I'm gonna go over here. This is our green dragon burpless cucumber. Now it has not grown much. It is sending out new leaves, but it's moving kind of slow. So I'm hoping that giving it some fertilizer tonight will help. And the muncher over here, the muncher cucumber, is kind of the same way. I mean, it's sending out its true leaves, but it's just moving kind of slow, so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And if you look down here, these peas have absolutely gone ballistic. The golden sweet peas are starting to kind of get a little weird shaped. This one is super weird. So I think these are pretty much done. I need to come out and kind of harvest what I can. But the mammoth melting snow peas are absolutely living their best life. I mean, look at this. Like, these plants are covered in pods that are this size. They're just straight exploding with pea pods, and you know what? I'm not really mad about it at all. So I am trying to decide if I pick these as pea pods and eat them like snow peas, or if I leave them to use as shelling peas. I don't know. I've just been not thinking about them in the morning to come out and pick them, so they're just gonna keep growing. And when these do eventually die back, which you can see down here, they're starting to get kind of yellow, I'm gonna put some Kentucky Wonder pole beans in their place. All right, so down here we go to tomato and pepper land. So let's start with the tomatoes. Here's the other sweet scarlet dwarf tomato in a pot. And next to that is our San Marzano plant, and there is a little baby tomato. There's a couple more up here. These are really just starting to set their fruit. Next to that we have our Cherokee purple. This plant looks super happy. It has a little like oblong shaped tomato on it, so that's gonna be fun. And then we have our pineapple plant. And this one is the one that I thought I topped, but I didn't, so now this is a sucker. So it has 2 branches. And it has a whole dang cluster of tomatoes on it down here. Like, look at that cluster, that's awesome. There's at least 6 tomatoes, and there's actually a few more up here too. And then we have our Brandywine Black, and it actually has one on it. I haven't really looked at tomato plants in a couple days. I try not to like mother them too much and hover, but it's hard. So I do know that there is a tomato on this plant now. And then next we have our pink ox heart, and I don't know if there are any fruit set on this. So there's tons of blossoms on this plant, kind of. I mean, they're like little, but they're opening up. But I don't think there's any actual tomatoes set on this plant yet. Next to that we have our Blonde Girl Cherry, and you can see all of these. Look at all these flowers. There are some tomatoes that have set down here. Look at those little babies. I'm so excited. And like every time I come out here and look in this flower cluster, I see more tomatoes. So this is gonna be awesome. This is our triple crop. I don't think I have any fruit set on this yet. It is a smaller plant, but so here's a flower that's getting ready to open here. And there's some more back here as well. So flowers all around. This is the Thorburns Terracotta. And this thing has lots of tomatoes on it. There's one up here. There's 3 tomatoes down here. Look at those beauties. And there's more back there as well. Next to that is our Chianti Rose. Look at this beautiful specimen of a plant. There's a tomato right there. Look at that little baby. And there's also one down here. I don't know if you can see him in there. He's in there. There's a little baby in there. So this is super promising. I'm super excited. Next to that, we have our 2 Kellogg's Breakfast. Now, these plants look super healthy. They look super happy. They're growing. But I don't think there's any fruit on them. I haven't noticed anything. There are some flowers set, but I don't know that they've opened yet necessarily. So still waiting on some fruit to set on these. Our large red cherry is kind of doing the same thing. It has some flowers, but oh nope, look. I feel like I'm a wildlife videographer. Look, there are baby tomatoes on this plant. Red alert, there are baby tomatoes on this large red cherry plant. That maybe just made my whole day. Next to that is the 2 Aunt Ruby's German Green. They have not set fruit yet that I know of. They have been setting some flowers, but there's no fruit on them yet. That's okay. They look good. They're very tall. They're doing great. This is our Amish Paste. Again, I don't think there's necessarily any fruit on this, but it is setting flowers. This is the plant that I thought I killed in the frost, so I'm just happy it's alive, to be honest. This is our Carbon Tomato, and there's some little fruits on it. The little babies, little oblong babies. This is the other Ghost Cherry plant, like the one I have in the grow bag. It has a few down here, a few little tomatoes down here coming along. And then our last tomato plant is the Costa Luto Genovese, and I don't think it has any tomatoes set on it yet, but it is setting some flowers. Actually, no, I don't think that's been pollinated yet. So that's all the tomatoes. Let's spin back around to the peppers. These are doing really well. I have all my jalapenos here. All 5 of my Craig's Grande jalapeno plants. I haven't necessarily noticed any peppers yet, but there is flowers. There's flowers on that one back there. These 2 are pepperoncinis. Again, haven't necessarily noticed any fruit yet, but I have seen a few flowers. This is the Cayenne right here, and it has some peppers on it. Now, it also has some flowers on it too, so it's probably going to be my fastest producer in terms of having fruit on it first. Now this is my little chocolate beauty bell. Everything's very lush and happy. This is my row of Keystone resistant giant bells. This is just a big old bell pepper plant. And back here, I see something. That, my friends, is a very tiny bell pepper. That's what that is. That's awesome. So in this grow bag right here, this is 2 zucchini plants. Now I know that's probably dumb, but there's 2 in here. I think that this zucchini down here may have been pollinated, so that's awesome. And then over here, I'm just gonna step through these peppers carefully. This is my yellow crookneck squash plant. And that one right there is growing. And there's like 4 or 5 other female blossoms on this plant too, so that's super exciting. So that's gonna wrap it up for this week's garden tour. Lots of stuff's happening as usual. Almost all the tomato plants have tomatoes, which is very exciting. And things are growing. Everything got a good feeding tonight, and we are fully in the gardening season. It feels super nice out right now, but I was pretty sweaty after I fed all these plants, so I'm gonna go in and take a shower. And I will see you in the next one. So thanks for watching.